introduction. Well, we all know that there's a lack of developers. So the first, we have open positions for front-end and back-end developers. You can all participate if you like to work on remote and collaborate with us. We are open and just looking for opportunities to work with you. We have many ongoing projects. I won't go through all of them, but on our website, we of course let all the people, visitors of our website, know that we built only on SilverStripe platform. What I'm going to talk about today is about, for us, really huge project. And I believe also for SilverStripe, the whole community and the ecosystem. It is governmental portal, GOV.si. Does anyone remember GOV.uk website, how popular it was in the past? Our government decided it's time to optimize all the websites they provide to our people. And on 1st of July this year, we launched this website, which we are very proud of. This is how it looks like. This is English version, which is not that rich like Slovenian. This was really one of the most complex and extensive projects in Innovatif's history. We worked with several governmental teams in during this project and other companies to bring over 150 websites under one umbrella. What we have achieved is we provide content editors, more manageable content structure, and improved user experience for users. And which was a big part of the project, trained more than 500 editors that are editing the content on this website. This is how it looked like. This is one or two of the trainings that we provided for them. And a few days ago, we also received one award for design excellency on national level for this project. How it all started. In 2014, the Governmental Communication Office conducted an analysis of the websites and found that there are more than 350 non-related websites in the state administration, and that the same content appears on different websites with different information. They also found that 770 staff members do part of their work hours without some uniform rules or policies. While at the same time, other countries around the world have already begun optimizing their websites, including the UK, which I already mentioned, as an example of good practice. In case nothing would be done in this direction to optimize and make the governmental web, better for the users, then we would still have duplicate, non-up-to-date content, and of course, difficult to understand. Website editors would still have work overload, because among all the other duties they have, usually, as we would think, there are public relations departments which prepare the content for the websites and publish it. But no, regular employees on the regular basis with all the tasks they have, they were responsible also to manage the content on the websites. And they were not qualified for this. They didn't have the time and experience to prepare good content. A growing number of different CMS systems requires maintenance and upgrades. The citizens, the people of Slovenia that use those websites, because of this mixture of information, difficult to understand content, are lowering their trust to the online content. So, all in all, this is dissatisfaction with the lack of useful content on state-related websites. Many things have to be considered and had to be done before we even start with the project. The first, preparation of the legal basis. Government had to confer some kind of strategy and had to approve all the documents so that the group of people working on the project could even start. First, there was analysis of the current situation, upgrading of a government document called Single Editorial Policy. This is one of the two important documents that was accepted and confirmed by government, was upgraded, and then establishment of the process of operation to implement this policy was established in 2016. Establishing of uniform editorial tools to facilitate this process was made in 2017. Then all those changes had to be promoted among all the employees, editors, which you mentioned, around 770, so that they would accept this change. And how to do this? What's the solution for so many people to accept such a big change? Is to include them in the process. So practically everyone was involved in the process of this change. Then there was one step defining of the content basis for single CMS. We're talking about single CMS where editors are entering the content for all websites. And this is what is really interesting from the SilverStripe point of view and important. Then before, there was a tender, public tender, where we applied as Innovatif and many other companies. The technical basis and requirements for CMS selection were defined. One step was preparation and adoption of government action plan. So this is another document that had to be accepted and prepared. Action plan on how this tender is going to look like, and every process after successful selection of the company that will take care of the project until the end of the project, which ends in 2020. Then the working group for this project was established, and it had to be, of course, from people from different ministries, departments. The leader of this group was Ministry for Public, Ministrstvo za javno upravo for Public, yes, okay, but Public Services, yes. And then there was a whole editorial structure formed. On top of that, Governmental Communication Office, which was responsible for all guidelines for content editors and the rules and coordination and decision-making on which content and how to publish and whom to give access and rights and so on. And then, of course, after the tender was published, on which we applied, and we were happy to be chosen, there was a next step, production, implementation of all those strategies through establishment and implementation of single CMS backend system and optimization of GOV.si website, which is, as you've seen, live from 1st of July. Now we are in the promotion phase. Project is still ongoing. We still have a lot of trainings for editors. Every new feature, every new content that we release needs to be communicated, and people needs training to start working with the CMS. There, of course, for each project has its goals, and the goals of this project were the main purpose was to establish a more efficient communication of the countries through the internet, through optimize the numbers of websites. Of course, this means less expenses on development and maintenance of those websites, to optimize the quality of content, to increase the usability, and to optimize the work of editors and streamline cost. It is one prognosis that the costs on the monthly basis would be lowered by 200,000 euros with this solution. And qualitative goals were to increase people's confidence in published content on the national web, raising the credibility of state websites in the eyes of citizens. All those civil servants that are editing the content on the website spent 5,092 hours a month, which is approximately 29 full-time civil servants employed. This was an analysis that was made in 2014. Establishing a system of maintenance would result in optimization of work and reduction of the number of monthly hours spent by at least 10%, or by 500 hours, or by 77 employees. So there are direct financial effects with this project, and of course effects in using the website, how people find the information, how good the information they found is there. And one more data about these costs that government had with all those websites. It was like more than 8 million euros between 2009 and 2014. Establishment of functioning of single editorial policy, of course, means that all editors work at the same policy, with the same guidelines. Unified backend system websites, it means that we have lower costs, and the GOV.si online national single point of contact means that people refer to one website first and then go to the service portals where they, for example, change their IDs or fill their tax forms and so on. I can show now. So this is the website that we've built with all the information that people found it more user-friendly. Of course, from the front-end perspective, the website had to fulfill the requirements for accessibility. from the editor's perspective, there are many registries which editors enter the content, and to avoid the duplicate content, they can share the content modules and so on among them. So this is one thing that all the editors had to, switch the mindset. I have to mention that before SilverStripe, only most of government websites were built on Typo 3, and the editors were used to this page system. Now they had to switch to modules, so it's quite a different approach. Of course, SilverStripe interface is different, but as I was presented at these trainings with those editors, there were no major issues, maybe just questions how to, do something, and really we went really step by step from the basics, how to manage the assets, how to use some special module, how to write the news, and so on. So no major issues, complaints. I think that most of the editors really fluently started working with CMS. Our challenges when building this project, main challenges were to set up the SilverStripe CMS to support the work of more than 500 editors, where we use this workflow module, and huge amount of pages with Lumberjack module and Asset Core module. Before we even start, we contacted SilverStripe. I think that Tanya Rice. Tanya Rice. Really, I should thank her, because she gave us really valuable information, basic information on how to set up initial framework to really have good start for high availability infrastructures. So this was the one thing that we started with, and then all the other work was really, I would say, not simple, but it just went like a flow. We had 1.5 years of time to build the project, to launch it, to meet all those deadlines that we had. We really tried to invite all the editors as soon as possible into CMS. So actually, the website wasn't built as it should be when all those editors were already entering the content and had the training on our system. So everything was like going on in how to say, yes. From the GOVsi point of view, okay, 10 minutes more. The main challenges were to prepare the state administration to change, connect, and activate more than 600 civil servants to participate in development. This was our point of view for the challenges. What we still have in the pipeline till the end of the project is connecting multiple external systems, improving accessibility, more content visualization, We already have these GraphQL presentations included. Search engine enhancements and shutting down of the remaining websites. It's around 60 projects still living. This is it in short. So any questions? Yes?
What was it that made the Slovenian government choose you and choose SilverStripe CMS?
When there was every tender that public institutions issue has its own rules and criteria for selection. There were many sections of different criteria. One among them was that the company has to have more than 500 daily turnover, 500 euros of yearly turnover in last 3 years, as I remember. Then the company that attended this tender had to have at least 2 projects that costed at least 80,000 euros. The team has to have a lot of experience. For the information architect, there was one specific criteria that he has to finish this and this. Every team member has to have experience on such a huge projects. There is no specifics about CMS. It was open for CMS which has licenses and open source CMSs.
Do you know about like what other options people were sort of
Typo 3.
Typo 3.
For example, the company that the current company that maintained the previous website was, of course, offering the Typo 3. I don't know about the other companies.
Did they give any sort of hint of why? Like, did they think SilverStripe CMS was better than Typo 3 for this use? Or
it was not like
was it more about
I don't know, but it wasn't like about the CMS. There were just requirements like it should offer like multi-language options. It should be user-friendly. It should provide options of flexibility. It has to have an option for this some kind of editor system.
Yep.
So different workflows.
Okay.
And this was it.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
All public sector in Slovenia has recommendations about open source solutions, and they are also they're not so hard, tough. One is like the open source solution should have live community. The other thing which is also important is that you cannot charge for the open source modeled existing open source modules. So you can charge only for the things that you develop or upgrade and so on.
Any more questions? Yes.
It said on your slides that you're preparing for 100+ languages. Is that like just for little information for in every language in the world, or like?
Because of the embassies in Slovenia.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Mostly for them, for the people, foreigners that are living here.
Can you tell us a bit about how the initial data entry and migration happened from the existing sites down into this CMS? Was that automated, or did you just...
Part of it was automated, like tenders, events, like public information that is entered in some different systems and should be there by the law and accessible to all. But from the content perspective, every content had to be entered and prepared again. So there was no reuse of old content. So we haven't imported information pages. People had to prepare them again and enter them. So this was really a huge amount of work for all those editors.
I'd like to hear a little about how you structure the content for that many users and that many pages. Is it just a big sort of tree structure and you put the editing permissions at those positions, or how do you handle all those teams and all those different controls over areas of the site?
Yeah, there's a tree structure for most of the content, and of course there are restricted areas, and the chief editors have these permissions and to confirm all the content before it's published. The pages also have this option to enter when it will be published in the future. But this editorial system is really, strict, so that every new content has to be confirmed by chief editor. And if there are some questions about how to prepare something which is like really new, then this government office for public relations has to confirm it and give the guidelines on how to prepare the content. So it's like workflow.
Okay. Any more questions to Boris? No? Okay, so please, just one more, of course, yes.
Are they happy with the solution?
I think that yes. That's what I wanted to say before when I said there were not any big complaints or confusions or something like that. Yes, I think that they are satisfied with what SilverStripe CMS is offering them. So it's much easier, obviously much easier to use.
Okay, one, two more.
Sorry, very quick question. Have you agreed how long you're going to support this in the future?
Now we have a contract until 2020. Then we will see.
But also gaining the contract, did you have to say that potentially the software can be supported till 2022 or something like that? Was there any requirement?
Oh, I cannot recall this, unfortunately. But probably yes. I don't remember. I'll check.
Did you notice any change in use of SilverStripe, because this is a high-profile site created in SilverStripe, and did it have an effect on other agencies starting to use SilverStripe or something like that? Or
no, it was like smooth switch.
Yeah, it's a smooth switch, but has SilverStripe been put in a spotlight because of this, and other companies also starting to use it for? Oh,
I understand. I believe that this will have some, of course, implications in the future. That if this is such a usage of important improving of usage of the CMS system in Slovenia, this will have some consequences, positive, as I believe that more and more editors will be familiar with the interface, and more developers in demand for solutions. But as you all know that at Innovatif, we are for years now providing only solutions on the SilverStripe platform, and we have many clients, and in this regard, our work here in this field is really improving, because each year we hear of someone new that is developing on the platform. So each time we hear about the people using it more and more. I don't know what's the market share of the SilverStripe in Slovenia, but as one of the biggest digital agencies, I believe it's important.
Yeah, it's a related question, I guess, because I don't know how many of you guys have gotten the writing from Andy regarding this. Yeah, I see you definitely heard about it, boys. But it's just like, if we were doing a project like that, which we are not big enough to do, but if we were in Denmark, that would definitely be some concerns regarding the alternatives developers, like how many different companies would be able to pick up this solution after you if they chose not to continue working with you. I was just thinking, how did you get questions like this? Are there any other companies in Slovenia that are big enough to take over and work on SilverStripe, or wasn't that a concern to the government?
I wasn't involved in this part of the process, so I will need to ask. But I suppose there were questions like this. I'm sure that there are companies in Slovenia using SilverStripe, not just SilverStripe as we do. So in my opinion, there's no worries about anyone to continue with this setup.
Okay, thank you.
Because it wouldn't be smart to change everything after 2 years. Really, this is invested too much.
Okay, so all questions are answered now.
Yeah, okay.
So
thanks.
thank you very much, Boris.